but also in our relationship with God. How do those things marry up? Yeah. All right, who wants to share their reflections on that? Lily.
Hang on, I didn't have time to read it before I put my hand up. I think it was talking about how you have to have, you can't go to God until you've reconciled it with your brother. Mm-hmm. So I think it was talking about the fact that you have to have, fully repented and attempted to rectify your unloving behaviour before you're actually properly repentant, and then you can feel God's forgiveness.
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Also, I wanted to say I've actually got a graph to prove this from our Soul Team experiments.
Oh, tell me.
Well, one aspect of it is looking at the relationship, like how strong your relationship with is God, versus how strong your relationship is with others.
Do you want to draw it?
No. No. All right.
Label. Others, yeah. And to interpret?
Okay, I'll do it from over here. So the better your relationship with God on the x-axis, the better your relationship with others. And part of that is repentance. Yes. So it's scientifically proved now.
Awesome. Cool. I guess for me it was already scientifically proven, but I love that you've done an experiment about it. Yeah. Cool. All right, let's go back to the text, because he quotes a Bible reference in here, doesn't he? Who looked up in their Bible? Jane did? It's on page 79 of the printed book. The penalties enforced by that justice are for wrongs committed against your fellow man. Such sins must be redeemed. They are never forgiven, for no one, not even God, has power to forgive a trespass against any other than himself, such being contrary to his own law. When the penalty for sins against his fellow has been righteously discharged, then the repentant soul has the power to ask forgiveness for his sin against God, which is always freely granted, but it is requisite that he first be reconciled to his brother. For only he that has clean hands and a pure heart can ascend to the presence of God, where Christ will secure his full remission. Okay, so let's really talk about this paragraph in depth. Lily has summarised it beautifully for us, but there's a lot in there. Barbara?
A little bit of confusion on discussion with some people. They've stated from this that the steps, you seek, you have awareness yourself, you go to your brother, you seek forgiveness, and then you can go to God. And some people have said to me that you have to have forgiveness from your brother before you can go to God, and your brother doesn't have to forgive you as long as you're being willing to, okay.
It's the action of your seeking his forgiveness.
Yes, because he doesn't have to forgive you.
No.
He's got his own free will.
That's the exercise of his own will.
Yeah.
But remember, we're dealing with what's in our own soul. So if I have done a harm against you, if I'm truly repentant, I would come to you and seek your forgiveness. Now, I would also be unattached to whether you actually forgive me or not. That's if I was in a true state of repentance, I would say, Barbara, you may never forgive me, but I really want to ask for your forgiveness and let you know how sorry I feel for everything that I did and all of these things. Now, that would indicate, if that was a soul-felt feeling, that would indicate my repentance. Now, you would be free to say, no, I don't forgive you, yes, I forgive you, whatever, but the condition of my soul would be such that I'm repentant, and then I can receive God's forgiveness. He's already forgiven me.
He's already forgiven, yes.
But he's created our souls such that it's only when I reach a certain condition in my soul that I'm able to feel that forgiveness.
That was the other point. Thank you, Mary.
Yeah. So does that make sense to everyone? He's already forgiven all of us all of the time, but in order for us to experience that feeling, there must be a set of conditions within my own soul. And so I limit the experience of God's love and God's forgiveness while I'm unrepentant, and also while I remain in a state of not forgiving another. Both ways it works. Obviously, I limit it even more. If you can say we can receive God's love, I don't know if you guys are all familiar with the analogy AJ has of like the bottle that's full of error, and we let a little bit out and God's love can come into that amount. We let a little bit more out and God's love can come into that amount. When we hit these issues around repentance, where we've harmed other people, this is the majority of the error that's within our soul. So if we're resistant around that, it's going to limit quite a lot how much love can enter us. When it comes to issues around forgiveness, it's a little bit different, because there's harm done to us. And God can still love us quite an extent while we've been harmed. But until we're really ready to forgive, we can never be at one with God. We can never receive his love to the full extent that's possible for our soul. Yeah. If we go up the back here and then across to Angela with the other mic. Yeah. Just if you keep your hand up. Yeah.
I'm not used to this. This is a bit difficult.
Yeah,
but
that's okay.
Big mouth and 2 left feet. But
I think that's me.
I'd just like to share with you the experience that this book did for me this week.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'll try not to muck it, middle it up. But I went to bed on Saturday evening, and I had this enormous dream. And this dream was about 55 years ago of one of my errors. Mm-hmm. And it was so powerful that I could not take no notice of it. I had to really look at it.
Yeah.
And it was about taking something that didn't belong to me when I was young. And this was to help me further pay off my father's debts that were in my name. And it was so strong and powerful, I couldn't neglect it, and yet I felt so afraid and so ashamed and so guilty. It took me a day, and I started the process of my commitment to God to undo this error. And it took me a while, but I found the person that it was attributed to, which I didn't even know was alive.
Wow.
And we had a great conversation. And after that, the relief and the joy that was there and the warmth that came into my beingness was just enormous. So it was a very hard process to go through and confront, but the desire for God was greater than that.
That's beautiful, Phil. Yeah.
And that's what this book is doing, and I can feel it in all the conversations. So
yeah.
Thank you.
I'm sure you had to face quite a few emotions to get to the point of contacting that person.
Yes. And it was great just to be on my own now, without disturbances from around me, to be able to work through it.
Just go through it,
Yes.
So because you're living out in the bush now.
Absolutely,
so you can,
it's fantastic.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that story. It's beautiful. Yeah, awesome. Ange?
I was just sitting here feeling the mechanics of our soul and God's soul, where, we can only feel that forgiveness when we actually have fully repented.
Yep.
It's quite absolutely